What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I'm here. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Let's go. Super Bowl.
Super Bowl season, yes. And I'm in my running equipment. And this is not a sports show or anything. This is just pure coincidence on my part, especially because I had gone for a morning run and I misjudged my time. And I had to come on here soon as, so I just thought, you know what, I'll jump on my running gear and we'll just start recording, because obviously, as you know, a lot of stuff happened. Like, we put out our last episode, there was only one news piece, which was the PS Plus announcement for Life is Strange, and then the main topic, which I know some people really enjoyed, and then everything, all hell broke loose. So the main segments that we did, we wanted to record, we couldn't, and I did solo reactions to both Don't Nod Montreal's first image look that we could see of their game, and also for Life is Strange 2 coming to Switch, and then I said we'd explore more of an in-depth reaction on StrangeCast instead, because obviously Adam wasn't able to get there in time, and as I said, with like a 6-hour difference between us, so it's almost impossible sometimes to synergize a schedule, and I thought we can hold those conversations to here. So those videos are on YouTube. If you are enjoying those reaction videos, let me know. I'll do more of them. It seems like it's actually done really well compared to other stuff that I put out there. It seems like people really just want to get a quick reaction, something like that. Always more than happy to do that. But firstly, as well, if you are new here, please do consider dropping us a like and a subscribe, and turn on notifications as well. Hit the bell as well, so you always get notified when our content goes live. And also comment as well. Again, it's more about helping our channel grow and also being in tune with what we post as well. Don't really care about the algorithms. Not going to give you some weird YouTube spiel. It just helps support the channel, if anything. And also, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services, so you can watch this on YouTube with the video version, Spotify with video version, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're on everything. So you can go over there, you can follow us, you can download episodes, you can also give us ratings as well. It, again, helps support this independent podcast. So firstly, because obviously there's a lot of news and there'll be timestamps, so if you just want to listen to certain parts as well, because I obviously know a lot of people will be excited about the Montreal stuff, feel free to jump to it, but there'll be timestamps for each section. But before we record this episode as well, I need to apologize for the last episode, which was our most complete Life is Strange characters, because we didn't give Hot Dog Man a lot of respect. And Hot Dog Man responded to us on Twitter at Hot Dog Pics, responded saying, "It's me who is most complete Life is Strange character." So I'd like to apologize to Hot Dog Man. I have no idea who runs that account. I don't think anyone knows who runs that account. Potentially,
it's a mystery. It's Hot Dog Man.
Yeah, well, yeah. Potentially a fella in Canada, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I would like to apologize to Hot Dog Man. This is a PSA on this podcast, and also you should follow at Hot Dog Pics on Twitter. And yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and he has his own game within a game. How do you not have the most complete character when you have a video game within a video game? It's meta.
Very meta, and that's as I said, the apology has to be made there. So. I do follow Hot Dog Man on Twitter as well. Yeah. So that out of the way, Adam, should we kick things off?
This one shocked and jaw dropped. I was like, "There's no way, but it happened."
There's no way. So, and on top of this as well, this podcast episode will be coming out quicker. Actually, to add on to that, so we're recording on the 30th of January. I'm hoping to turn this over for the 1st of February, which will be the Wednesday, I think. So we'll get this episode earlier ahead of time. We usually wait till next week. You would have got this, but we're going to put this episode out on Wednesday, and then we'll record next week, and then we'll get back to our 2-week schedule after that. So just as a you'll get another StrangeCast episode here. But as I said, this piece of news needs addressing. So the underappreciated Life is Strange 2 is headed to Switch. So This is from Eurogamer on the 24th of January. And I'll read it out for anyone who doesn't know or who's been living under a rock. Life is Strange 2 will launch on Nintendo Switch on 2nd of February, publisher Square Enix announced. The narrative adventure series' second game originally arrived episodically on other platforms between 2018 and 19 and tells the story of two brothers on a road trip across America following a family tragedy. It received a more mixed reception than the series' first game, which featured high school time travel antics and a different set of characters. But for those who are yet to play Life is Strange 2, it's still worth a look. Developed again by the franchise's original team at Don't Nod. No 2 words. Come on, Eurogamer. Get with it.
Look at that. It's the one word. Jeez.
Life is Strange 2 took the bold step of changing pretty much every element of the original game for this follow-up. Instead of a fixed setting in a small town small town America. Each episode largely takes place in a new location. Instead of a large cast of regular characters who appear every episode, this tells a more intimate story focused on two brothers' relationship. And while you, as Max, were the character with special powers in the original, here you play as the older brother who must protect their power-laden sibling. By the way, just to add on to that, someone once kicked off with me when I wrote the first episode review for Life is Strange 2. It hit embargo when I got it out. And then they actually started having a fight with me on Twitter saying that I'd spoiled that Daniel has powers. And I was like, it's pretty much obvious across all promotional material that Daniel has the powers. They pretty much egged onto that. But I remember having this fight with this guy on Twitter. I was like, I don't know why you're fighting with me. That's not a spoiler. I was like, I know what a spoiler is, and Daniel having power is not spoiler because it's in every part of the marketing for this game. Yeah. But anyway, just a random thing that I just thought of then when I was thinking about that. I'm not going to read the rest of Eurogamer's article. It's too much filler, and it's not really relevant to what you guys need to know. But before we kick off this discussion anyway, there is one or two little pieces on here, which was obviously the Life is Strange Twitter account announced this, which was that experience the critically acclaimed Life is Strange 2 by Don't Nod Entertainment on the go for the very first time on Nintendo Switch, available to pre-order now from the Nintendo eShop and will release on 2nd of February. So it is only a digital download, just to remember as well. It's not a physical release on the game. And then on top of that, just opening this up as well, Don't Nod put on their social media page. I'm going to Facebook here. They put Life is Strange 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch on the 2nd of February. Buy it until the March 2nd and get bonus Arcadia Bay patches and the mascot bundle, which includes a pack of patches and a keyring to customize your backpack in-game. So obviously, again, there's this hot dog man. You have the tornado from Arcadia Bay. You have the butterfly. You have a lot of little customizations you can put on Sean's backpack. I believe very similar bonuses that were available for Life is Strange 2 on the consoles when I played it back in the day.
Yeah.
So, right, as I said, my reaction's already been done, but Adam, you have to take the floor on this first.
Yeah, right now I'm going to go onto the Nintendo Switch page, Nintendo eShop, and I just want to see if it's like a full $60 release. I'm just curious about that. Age verification, really? I know it's rated M, but just like, goodness gracious. Are you old enough to play Life is Strange 2? Oh, look at that. So on the Nintendo Switch page, it is weird pricing. Weird. It's not $60. What do you think it is?
$40.
32. 31. Yeah, $31.99.
That must be more expensive than what it was on console. On console, I think was it like £20 for the season pass here?
I think so.
And it was like, because the same price range as the Life is Strange 1 when it was released on the consoles.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's not like a full, like, fledged, like they're trying to market this to be a $60 release, but at the same time, $32, like, okay, that's cool. That's a good one. It's going to be on sale pretty soon, I would imagine, but for probably like $20 at some point. But yeah, floored me. Did not think this was going to happen. Did not know this was going to happen. It sounds like Luc and Michel didn't know it was going to happen either.
No. Luc commented on my reaction video saying very surprised.
Yeah,
saying the video. I pinned it to the top of the comments. I was like, there we go.
Like, yeah, he didn't know, and Michel was surprised too. They were hype about it. But somebody asked him, like, does anybody know if Captain Spirit is going to be included in this? And even Luke said, I don't know. So I looked into like, oh, well then did Deck 9 have a part in this? Looks like Deck 9 had no part in this. It was just publisher Square Enix.
Straight port.
Yeah, straight port from Don't Nod. So it's a straight port. So Deck 9 didn't have anything to do with this. So it's here's the thing. Can we technically say that Don't Nod put out a Life is Strange game this year? Because it is a Don't Nod.
I was reading a news article that I found on Google from some, I don't know what website it was. It just seems like the most random one that Google's even ranked on there. And they said that Life is Strange 3 has been announced. And I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, Montreal's project is not Life is Strange 3.
No,
I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, wait a minute, what? I would not count it as a Don't Nod putting a Life is Strange game out this year. No. I mean, I class it more as Don't Nod making royalties from this, which will obviously, because of their work on it previously, which is kind of good for them, if anything.
We're very happy about this because, like, I was telling my wife that, like, all of Life is Strange games are on the Switch, except for Life is Strange 2. And if Captain Spirit is not included into this, like, come on, just throw it on there. Just throw it on there. Just put it into the package, because it's still a good game that, and in fact, it adds context to the game. Because Chris comes out, and his dad, comes out. What's his dad's name again? Shoot,
Charles.
Yes, Charles comes out, and gets him and saying like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry for yelling at you," but like Captain Spirit adds context. So I'm hoping that there is Captain Spirit in this game. Traumatic. If you can, Mexico, read more. Award-winning search. I'm trying to see if like it says in the description. Emotive original soundtrack from Jonathan Morelli. So there we go.
The boy.
It doesn't say.
I just looked on the Switch store in the UK. It's $25.99 for Switch. I'm pretty sure that's more than what Life is Strange 2 retailed at on PlayStation.
It's $25.99 for you?
Yeah. So that's $25.99 there. And then I'm going to quickly try and see if I can find the price on 2018.
Okay, so same price as us. So I had to convert pounds to dollars because math.
I'm trying to find a news story where it tells you how much it was when it released. That's buried.
But yeah, no, as you're looking for that, I am pleasantly surprised. I did not know this would be it. And, free. Okay. Huh. Weird. So then I'm still on the Life is Strange page here. Okay. I'm on the Life is Strange page, and I see Captain Spirit. It says free download. So I click on free download. It only gives me 2 platforms, Xbox and Steam. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Which is weird. I
don't think it came to Captain Spirit. I don't think came to PlayStation for some reason.
Are you serious? Really?
I'm pretty sure because I remember this because I played Captain Spirit first on my Xbox One.
Yeah.
And then when I played Life is Strange 2, I didn't get any of the crossovers from Captain Spirit because I was playing it on PlayStation because they gave me a code. It was released on PlayStation, just to double check that, but I think it came out at a different date on that.
Weird. Okay. All sorts of weird, but nonetheless. Oh, did you find something?
No, I'm just having I don't know why I put my finger up. No, it says it's released June 2018 for PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox One, so it was released at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so pleasant surprise. I'm glad that all of Life is Strange games, Captain Spirit will come on eventually,
Yeah.
But in terms of like full-fledged Life is Strange adventures, all of them are now on the Switch finally, which is it's good. It's a good thing that these people that play Nintendo Switch can actually experience Life is Strange finally. Like if you only own a Switch, now you can play these games.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That's really good. Now, is it going to be a good port is the question. I don't know. In fact, does it say which company ported it?
It'll be a straight port from. I imagine it's going to be the exact same game, and it'll be the only issue will be like maybe frame rate because the Switch isn't powerful enough. Like not necessarily that Life is Strange 2 is the most powerful game, but I just don't know how it's going to adapt to Switch fidelity, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Square Enix has outsourced this either. I think it's probably that internal team that's done it.
Yeah, it looks like
they ported it straight over. This news really caught me left field. I was like genuinely it says it's in my reaction, but it says hell. The title has "Hell has frozen over."
Yeah,
I had to fit that in. I was genuinely shocked. Like I said this to you, like when I was messaging, I was like scrambling because I'd come home from a run. I'd sat down and I'd had my YouTube page open and had suggestions there. Yeah. And like one of them was the artwork for Life is Strange 2 on the Switch, and I was like, why is Life is Strange 2 coming up on it? I was like, why is it showing me like years old suggested videos for Life is Strange 2? And then, hey ho, I looked at the title. I was like, no. I was like, right? That was not on my bingo card for 2023.
No,
not a chance.
No, not even close. Like that's
no, not at all. I just know how Square Enix is like.
They want to bury this.
Yeah,
But
I know they treated it, and it just kind of surprised me that they were willing to kind of go with it, even just to make the actual extra money, like just to put resources behind this. But I was genuinely exactly like you. I was genuinely shocked, very pleasantly surprised as well. Obviously, I very much admire Life is Strange too.
oh yeah,
And like, I'm very happy that they've done a straight port as well from the Don't Nod team. Like, there was no need for remastering, no resyncing or anything like that.
Not a remaster. It just looks like, hey, we put it on the Switch, so it's like,
yeah. So
great.
I mean, like as you said, all the Life is Strange games now are on Switch, they're handheld, and it means that Life is Strange 2 isn't going to be landlocked to the other consoles, because like pretty much every other game's been remastered from those, but that hasn't. So it's like it's actually moved out of that territory where it's been like kind of locked away on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, so you have like an opportunity to play it. And yeah, I'm very happy with the Don't Nod team for them to do that. Obviously, I'd like them to release the first Life is Strange and BTS original forms on Switch, but I doubt they're going to do that. That's probably not going to be, because considering the much money and resources they probably put into the remastered, I don't think they're ever going to do that, which is a bit disappointing, but they are all there to play. I did have some issues though with, like I said in the reaction video, I was kind of like a little bit niggled by the fact that how they did this. It kind of came out of like left field, and it's like when they announced it, it's like a week up to release, and I was like, you could have like announced it earlier this month and given it more time to like kind of like people to kind of like digest it and be like, oh yeah, you know, Nintendo Switch, Life is Strange and stuff. Like, obviously, as I said, not for a brand new game by any stretch of the imagination, but there's kind of like scope there, just kind of let it breathe a little bit, get people to kind of like react to it and kind of like confirm the pre-order bonuses at a later date and stuff like that. So it just seemed a little bit. Oh no, sorry, you guys.
No, I was going to say, like, because you can only get those patches until March 31st, I believe they said. Something like that.
It was March 3rd of March 31st. Let me quickly just double check that.
Yeah, I'm double checking now. So you buy the game until March 2nd. So you have a month. So like, that's weird. I remember reading an article, it's going around, where the game Hi-Fi Rush shadow dropped right onto Xbox, which great game. If you have Xbox Game Pass, Hi-Fi Rush, it's good. It's great. But I read an article that said like, oh, Hi-Fi Rush shadow dropped. And it was so successful. That's why all games should shadow drop. I'm like, no. Like, that's no. You can't just shadow drop every single game and expect it to be a high success. You know, like you can't just like Apex Legends shadow dropped and it was a wide success, but it was a free game that people can just like go right in, you know. And same thing with Hi-Fi Rush. It's not free, but it's like, hey, it's on Game Pass. Go download it. You can't just shadow drop, hey, it's $60. Buy it today. And it's like, what am I investing in? Like, you can't just tell somebody to invest in something without telling them, like, oh, here's what you're going to be buying. For a free game, yeah, you can shadow drop that game. But for something that's $32, you shouldn't shadow drop. You should just be like, hey, it's coming out. Consider buying it. That's it.
Yeah, you make a good point there. I like the shadow drop in term, because this is a big shadow drop. It's kind of like, hello. It's like kind of like out of left field, and it's like I'm just kind of a bit again. But I think again, like, and I'm reading into it again, but it's like again, it just shows me how Square Enix feels about the game. They're just being like, oh yeah, let's get out and kind of like just make a bit of extra dollars on this game. Like, obviously, again, like we're never gonna get Switch codes or anything like that. So like, I don't really have much issue giving my free opinions on things. I've always said to people, like, you'll always enjoy transparent opinions on this channel, but like, I'm just kind of a little bit. It's good. I'm happy. It's an opportunity for Life is Strange 2. I feel like a lot of the people who reacted on the comment video that I did, which again, very much appreciate, a lot of you kind of popping your heads up. It's nice to see people who come back, and obviously people who have engaged with repeatedly on this channel. Don't feel scared to like always comment on them as well. It's nice to hear other people's opinions, but a lot of them were like, you know, this kind of like, I think what someone says, like, it almost gives me a little bit of kind of hope that Sean and Daniel might come up in a different game, or it's like, you know, there's kind of an opportunity there. It's like they're not just as completely dead and buried as we think they are. And I'm very happy with that as well. Like, as I said, like, I think Life is Strange 2 is what it is. It's Marmite for people. You're either going to love it or hate it, and it's a game that really, for me, that's why I've always been like, my feelings with True Colors. Like, it just feels like True Colors was a safe step, a Force Awakens, Star Wars moment. Let's go back to the formula and see where we can kind of like appease the kind of fan base of this kind of franchise. But yeah, I accepted Life is Strange 2 for what it was. It was very different. Of course it was. I remember playing the first episode on embargo, and I was like thinking about it, I was like, this is really different, you know? It's like, it's really different. It's like, it's not Life is Strange 1, but I was like, kind of like, the more I got into it, the more it's more story driven than the first game. Like it's all story driven. It has to be driven on story, like more so than the first one. So I pleasantly enjoyed that game. It's one that I will go back and play. I know people have said to me, like, if you go back and play it, go and play it with the other morale choices. And it's a game I will re-explore. It's a game I wanted to kind of leave on its own because I played it once and I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I do want to go back to it now. I feel like just to see how things go. And I think maybe might be giving me a bit more idea of what Montreal's up to, because I feel like it's going to be that there was some eerie similarities I saw with Life is Strange 2 and the image they shared, but obviously we'll talk about it later. But generally speaking, yeah, it's nice to see it, but it's just, again, a big surprise. 2023 is like kind of kicked off with those big surprises. As I said, the Montreal game getting a first look, which has changed my opinion on a lot of things. And then on top of this one with Nintendo Switch. But yeah, really great. It's just nice to see that Life is Strange 2 can be played on the move now as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And that's on the move, on the road, if you might say.
Indeed. Indeed. So, as I said, check it out. I imagine, Adam, are you going to pick up? You and Liz?
Eventually. There's other expense. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing about this shadow dropping, about like paying for it. Like, yeah, adults have other expenses. Not to say like $32 is going to be way of our way, but it's kind of like, I need to buy other things before I buy a $32 game right away. You know what I mean? Because adults need money, and that's why we shouldn't be just shadow dropping something and just say like, oh, buy it now. It's like, let me plan about this. Okay. Let me plan.
It has come out quite early, and it's come out in the period of like, Dead Space coming out. It's come out with, Resident Evil 4 in a couple of months. It's got Hogwarts
Is that
Legacy
coming out?
very soon.
In a couple months. Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy comes out very soon, so it's like a lot of games are going to kind of like be priority for people again, putting Life is Strange 2 out to pasture again. But you know, if you are a fan, do definitely buy it as well. I know that more people probably would have bought it if it was a physical release, because I think people wanted like a physical version of it. But I don't think they're going to be willing to take that kind of like, expense on it, Square Enix. But like, if you do really enjoy Life is Strange 2 and you want to play it again, definitely pick it up. I imagine people will probably pick it up cheaper as well. And again, this will support Don't Nod as well. Like, the game was, had a tough time with critics. Yeah, in parts, but I really enjoyed it. So that's that. Adam, should we go into the next piece of news?
Yes, definitely. I have the page up right now.
The fan favorite one for me, Adam, the Life is Strange Remastered Collection.
Yeah.
So we are back. And as the person said as well, we will always keep you updated as well on this. So this is a Twitter post from Life is Strange. Sorry.
Bro, this is insane. I'm reading these patch notes. It's like, this is insane. This is insanity, dude.
Okay. So Life is Strange Twitter account, 26th of the 1st on this month, tweeted, the next patch for Life is Strange Before the Storm Remastered on PlayStation is scheduled for release on January 31st. We apologize for the delay and thank you for your patience. You can find the patch notes here. So yes, we have a confirmation update there. And I'll run you through the patch notes here. So outside of the following patch notes, the game has also been upgraded to the latest Unity engine. Bug fixes include color degradation issues, debug text appearing on Chloe's hand, fixed animation issues when doing graffiti. Drew's cast now has the correct graffiti on it. Textures added to various characters' jewelry. That's one I saw. That one I always say about Dana. Yeah. And not even Dana as well. There's other characters as well that happens to. Fixed various NPC unnatural animation issues. Journal text in various languages has been updated. Chloe able to pop out of camera view in the parking lot. We would like to apologize for the delay and remain dedicated to supporting the title, the Life is Strange team.
What's more there to say? What's there more to say? We're just like, when did this game release again? I
believe it was 1 year ago next month.
I think it was. I think it came out. Life is Strange Remaster Collection. I just want to see like when it was released.
I'm pretty sure it's 1 year ago. Next month, like
February 1st. It came out a year ago on Wednesday. When this episode drops, potentially, it will be 1 year, and we are. Again, I want to specify that game development is not easy. It's not. It's straight up not. However, when you are in this sort of light, when you have Square Enix money, when you have a game that's already been made, when it's your in-house game and remastered, and we're still fixing the textures added to various characters' jewelry, when we're fixing fixed missing lines of dialogue, like, it's your game that you remastered a year ago that was delayed on PlayStation. It's just kind of like, I want to be like, hey man, it's hard to develop a game, because it is. However, my man, a year, and you're still like, fixing. Yeah,
you're making good points, because like I'm not laughing in the sense that I'm like understanding that from a game development perspective things are hard. As I've repeatedly said on this podcast, this game should have been released as the Arcadia Bay collection, as I've repeatedly said. Royalties, Philly cheesesteaks,
let's go, baby.
But I said it should be an Arcadia Bay collection year, like it should be released as that on the 10-year anniversary, because there's no rush to get it out. This seems like the package seems to have been an enticing thing to make people buy True Colors, if anything, because it was part of the Ultimate Edition. It was never packaged originally as it on its own. You could have bought them separate, etc. But it seems as a kind of a marketing tool that was kind of used to sell True Colors for people. It's like, oh, here's more Life is Strange games. You can have more content, blah, blah. So that was the issue of it. There's not a whole like, as I said, I don't hate on it. I think I enjoyed certain parts of it. The lip syncing was a big improvement. It was an issue that was in the first Life is Strange, repeatedly said, and also with BTS they could improve the issue of lip syncing. So there were some good positives from it. Obviously, we've had an interview with Anastasia as well, so you can go and check it out. Her talking about behind the scenes of recording it. But like, it's not even just us saying it. Like, look at the response. I'm not going to name the Twitter users, but these are the quote tweets. One's put, "Bro, skullface. It took this long, ? Another, "It's been 1 year. Do you think it will be playable after this?" I can't read that. Sorry, different language. One day after that, it has been out an entire year, and it's still not in its finished state. Life is Strange Remastered Early Access Collection would have been a more appropriate title. Well, it took over a year for patches. Still no patches for other remasters and bugs. And then in the comments as well, the first comment from one user, I'm not going to read their name again just to kind of keep in transparency, but need achievement fixed for Xbox, please. I've reloaded episode 1 multiple times to try and get graffiti number 4 on Dave's toolbox, and the achievement is not popping. Again, don't know if that's actually thinking, but like a lot of the responses, I assure you, like they aren't, this is incredible and happy days and everything else like that. There's just this game is like littered with issues. Like there's so many issues. Like there's like resolution, texture issues here and there. And it's kind of like just seems to have like languished all the way through. Like I just say to people, like, buy it when it's in its full fixed state, and
which is when.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I can't give you a date for that. Like I just don't know when the fixed date is. As I said, it's really enjoyable seeing some of the upgraded resolutions here and there, but it's again other scenes it doesn't work in, and then you can't just upscale things. Like this is the issue that we saw with, and a big one which has kind of like knocked consumer confidence on Rockstar Games with Grand Theft Auto, the definitive trilogy. They didn't necessarily work completely on it, but like when the port came out, or the remastered, actually, sorry. Like they upscaled all these resolution fixtures and stuff, but then it didn't really factor in what the impact's going to be for it. So this is another issue with like this kind of game. So I don't know, like it's just something else.
Yeah, it's just not much more to say on it. I really have a lot more to say. It's just kind of like, I will say one of the people that quote tweeted it is Life is 2D, who is developing a game like based off of Life is Strange. So if anybody were to comment on it, it's somebody who's developing their own game, and they quote to me like it should have been Life is Strange Early Access Edition. And just like, honestly, because even Session, which I'm playing right now, like it's having updates, but it released early access, and that's when I purchased it for $15. So that was awesome. But that's the thing, like whenever I played that game, when it was in early access, I forgave all the bugs because it's early access. Like they're still working on it, but like here's like your look at it, But this seems like an early access game. It really does. There's so many bugs and so many things they'd have to fix, and yet they touted it as a full release. And it's just, I've played early access games, and this feels like early access. Like, it's just it is what it is. It's a early access game for something that's already been released, and that's what's frustrating about this whole situation.
Yes, I completely relate to you on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny you mentioned Session as well. I saw a TikTok video last night saying that potentially the PS Plus lineup for next month will include Ollie Ollie World.
Ooh, okay.
Potentially. So
yeah, because February 7th will be 1 year since release.
Yeah, so I think based on that, I'm going to probably say it is going to be in there. So Adam can't encourage PlayStation users to buy it. It'll just be for you to download.
Play Ollie Ollie World. Let's go. You got to play it. You have to. If it's on PlayStation Plus, you have to. You have to. It's your civic duty. You still have to play it. You still.
Well, I'll wait for the PS Plus version now, so you can't force me.
I'll take it, dude. I'll take it. Like, when it's on something, like if it's there, I want people to be playing it, dude. Like, it's such a good game.
Did Michel buy it?
We don't know. It has not been confirmed. Michel has not confirmed if he's played Ollie Ollie World yet. Luke has. Alejandro has. Many of my followers have. So, Michel, give me proof. Give me proof. Where's the proof?
My favorite part about the entire thing is that we didn't even mention it during our episode. Alejandro came and he's like, I've already bought Ollie Ollie World in the expectation that you're going to try and tell me to buy it.
Because, I'm going to say this for years.
I was in tears during that podcast episode because I was like, what? I was like, you didn't have to buy it because he's like been telling other people to buy it.
Yes, he does. Yes,
he's already come on to it. I was like, right. They should, like, Ollie Ollie will owe you Philly cheese royalties at this point. The amount of people, you've had 2 Life is Strange developers buy this game.
Like, potentially 3. Potentially 3. Potentially.
That'll be a big moment when we get the third review. But yeah, so there is news there for Life is Strange Remastered on Life is Strange Before the Storm Remastered on PlayStation. I don't think we're going to go into it a bit more, but as I said, it's we've spoken about it a lot. There's a reviews episodes that we've done on here, discussions. We followed it pretty much a lot through up to release, and there's it kind of didn't hit the beat, but as you will. So, Adam, should we go into the next topic?
Yeah, this one I'm interested in talking about. Yeah.
Right. So this is I only brought this up because I saw a couple of replies in the comments section. If you are on Twitter,
you replied to my boy Maddie's tweet. I saw that. I was like, oh,
I don't know if you'd see that. I got a lot of hate from some people on that. I thought it was a really funny comment to make. I genuinely did.
Yeah.
I thought it was very accurate. Right. So for many of you who don't know, Forspoken, a Square Enix game, has been making the rounds on Twitter. A lot of interesting things that have been said at discourse-wise. There were a lot of critics who came out and said, we didn't get review codes for this game. Now, having worked in the industry for many years, as I did, and getting review codes, usually a publisher not sending a review code is a bad sign for me personally. It's not binary to say that you're going to get a universally bad game. Sometimes
it's just a bad sign.
Yeah, it's a bad sign. Like, sometimes they might send them out really late, so then review publications have to do review in progresses, or they kind of can't hit the embargo deadline, or they usually send them weeks in advance. Some PlayStation games have been sent weeks in advance, and that's the better scenario of it, because these journalists and reviewers, etc., are always, you have to basically finish this game and then write your thesis on what you think about this game. So Forspoken didn't get review codes to send a lot of publications, and then when the reviews came out, there was a lot of mixed opinions on this. But I believe this was, I don't know if this came out before Forspoken came out or afterwards. It's a scene with the main protagonist, and she's at a castle, like on top of like a bridge near a castle or something, and she's talking to the entity that is like kind of like guiding you throughout the game. And someone's put it out there, and this is not the actual original viral tweet, but there was another one that went really viral. And this one just says, imagine how many people this went through and said, yep, people will love it, quote unquote. Yeah. So there was a lot of issues with this. Like, this has seemed to have given more ammunition and marketing for Square Enix just through word of mouth than they could have actually have done promoting it. So for good or bad, it's kind of put Forspoken in the kind of conversation for a lot of people. I had forgotten this game had even existed. I was so not even interested in it because I've already read a lot of reviews and discussions. I have no interest in picking it up, but I've wanted to kind of engage what the discourse is. And I've seen a lot of people saying this game didn't need to be open world. Again, another byproduct of the industry we live in at the minute. Everything has to be open world. Everything has to be of it. Hence why I'm very excited for something like Montreal's game and all this other kind of stuff where it's like it could be a very linear game. It doesn't need to be an open world, open exploration, etc. kind of game. Yeah. So that was kind of like the dialogue is very cringe. Go and have a look on it online if you want. This user's name is @BoulderPunch1 if you want to go and see the Forspoken dialogue in there. But it's very cringe, the dialogue. It's very cringe. And like some people have said, like, have tried to defend it by saying, oh, Life is Strange is super cringe, and then people were very happy with that. I never saw Life is Strange get this much defense from certain people as this game has. I've seen people like comment saying, this is really funny. For me, it's personally not. I think it's really bad writing. They're saying like, oh, it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. Maybe the game isn't as bad as it's out to be. We're judging on 30-second clips and stuff. As Adam said there as well, Mr. Matty Plays tweeted a clip out as well saying this is actual dialogue from a game. I responded saying like, you could put a Disney logo in the corner, it wouldn't feel much out of place with it. Especially when I watch like Miss Marvel, it feels like that. It feels like that kind of stuff where it's like that kind of dialogue, and it's like, it's just really, really weird cringe humor, and it's like, it's not the cringe humor I'm gonna laugh at. I look at me. It's like, that's why I said to you, like, when you tried to recommend Miss Marvel, I was like, I'll watch it. I engaged like 1 or 2 episodes with it, and I was like, I can't watch this, because it's like, it's diluting my IQ at this point. So it's like, and I don't really have a high IQ anyway, so like, let's just get that straight. It's like, this is diluting it even more. But a lot of people made the criticism with this, with like Life is Strange, like Life is Strange has a lot of cringe dialogue, but this is fine. It's like, but I remember when Life is Strange 1 came out, like, Jesus Christ, they were getting hammered, Don't Nod, for like criticism. Like, every review included cringe-worthy dialogue or whatever kind of like thing with it. I'm pretty sure I even made a comment about it in some of the reviews. I said that there was something with the writing where it's like, okay, I can kind of pass for it because it's a different circumstance in terms of the setting of it, the high school, you know, it's teen kids, they are French developers writing about Americanized kind of things, etc. And I've seen that with the more the actors I've spoken to, like, there's always been a kind of difference of like, I think with Gonzalo said, like, when it's like when he was talking or something, they might have even had a moment where it's like Michel's on a call and he'd be like typing a new sentence and then they'll reread it and rewrite it because it's like, he's like, I think maybe this sounds a bit more natural. And they're like, well, yeah, you have a good understanding of the dialect. We'll flip it through. Yeah. But this one has like kind of like, I don't know how I feel about Forspoken. Like, I get it. And it's like the discourse again about it. People have made this like be out a bigger issue. It was trending on Twitter for a lot of period of time. People are like, oh, it's not as bad as it is. I personally think it's really bad. I really do think that. Just like this, based on like this one scene of dialogue. If you show me this, I'm like, no, I'm not buying this. This is cringe dialogue. There's no kind of, there's no payoff for it. It just feels like someone who's like who has a creative writing degree has thought, oh, well, I'm going to try and write a funny scene here, and it's like this will work out well. And you have to take it on the chin sometimes, because if I'm saying you're cringe, then unfortunately that's what critics do in this kind of situation. So I want to hear what you think, Adam, because I want to contextualize it in the conversation of Life is Strange. Like, Forspoken, Life is Strange. Is there a justification to say that Life is Strange is any more cringe than it? That it's that people should be accepting of this because Life is Strange is cringe? Just a general consensus of it. And I'm also kind of annoyed that you didn't like my tweet either that I sent to Mr. Matty Plays. You could have actually like supported me on that call, but go on then anyway.
I was not getting involved in these conversations because like
I muted that conversation, by the way, just to give you
For me personally, I don't think that the writing is as bad as people make it out to be. Because I've seen a lot of really bad media, because again, I would like to be part of the writing scene. I would like to be in, you know, filmmaking and all that, and composition. So I've seen a lot of examples of bad dialogue. Am I saying this is like, oh, it's actually good? People don't no, it's not good. I don't think it's as bad as people put it out to be, because it is Disney cringe, but Disney cringe works in its context. That being said, in its context, this comes off to me as like somebody like what you said, has a creative writing degree, probably has some experience like doing banter and all that, but we can't see this entity. We can't see its response. We can't see its callback. We only see this person's reactions, and even then, some people put it out to be that her character model is way too much an uncanny valley. So I think within the context of what this clip is, that it's set in this unrealistic world, the character model is in uncanny valley territory. I don't think it's uncanny valley, but it's in territory. We can't see the other entity, how they react, of the banter, like going back and forth. Within the context, it looks silly. It looks silly. And I think what it is, it's not cringe writing. I think it's just silly writing. There's a lot of things that we could be fixing on this, but within its context, I think that's why people are saying cringe when really it's just out of context. Yeah. Me personally, I've seen a lot of clips of the dialogue. I don't think it's bad writing. I don't think it's bad writing. I think it's bad directing. I think that's what it is. I think it's bad. I think it's just bad within the context that it's put into. That's my original thought, but I like to think outside the box. I'm above society, That's my viewpoint, is that the dialogue is fine, the writing is fine. It's out of context. The character model doesn't help. That's my take on this whole situation. But
go continue.
To add on to Life is Strange, is it as cringe as Life is Strange? No, because once again, within its context, Life is Strange was just within its context. Let's talk about this. It was the first one. Let's talk about the first one. The two main characters, right, that bantered off each other. One was Max, who was an awkward girl trying to find her place in life, and she is just trying to look cool.
Shaka bra.
Exactly. She's just trying to be cool. And then Chloe, who is a nerd, as we found out through Before the Storm and the little dialogues that they had, like, she was a science nerd, but now she's like trying to act tough. And especially in Before the Storm, like Frank said, like, you're trying too hard. You know? And that's why Chloe Price comes off as cringe, because again, she's trying too hard. So you have two main characters, right? One is a dork trying to be cool, and the other one is a dork trying to be badass. So within its context, that cringe dialogue, it works because these are two characters that were developed to be cringeworthy because they're trying too hard. This one, it's the direction. The director is trying too hard, and that's what makes it cringe. I don't think the character is trying too hard. I think the director is trying too hard, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, because that's what I want to kind of reiterate. I don't hate this game. I don't dislike this game. I have no reason to it. Like, I found it funny because of the context of the first clip going viral, where she's talking to this entity and she's like this guy and she's trying to do banter with a really dry sense of humor kind of entity, but it's not working though. It's like the kind of thing I put in front of a focus group, and there'd be like, you wouldn't get laughs from it from me personally. If you saw someone laughing, it'd probably be like 9 other people looking at this person and thinking, why are you laughing? So my emphasis is that I don't hate the game. And when I was replying to Mr. Matty Plays, I was like joking in the sense, I was like, well, yeah, you can put a Disney logo on this and it fit exactly with their dialogue or wheelhouse. But I'm not hating on that, because again, it's contextual clips that we have. And we could do the same thing with Life is Strange 1, as you made very good points out. It's like you could take a clip of Max be like, release the Kraken, and it'd be like, people like, this is so cringe. But then it's different.
A cringe character. Like,
she's a very cringe character. She's a very cringe character in the sense that her personality is defined by that. We've had kind of discussions before, and the same with Hannah as well, about her potentially being on a spectrum. Like, there is a difference with Max. Like, when you suss out her personality all the way through, then it makes more sense. So you can contextualize a clip from Life is Strange and be like, oh, this is utter cringe. But then this is where I was always very defensive in the first Life is Strange in my reviews, where I was like, all the dialogue is not cringe. So it's like you can keep clipping these things out and saying this is really cringe, but they cringe because they're teenagers. And then it's also down to the actors as well. Like you said, Chloe sometimes has these really punchy lines and like really, is the kind of cool character, but then she goes really nerdy, as you said, and she kind of goes back to her wheelhouse and then becomes cringe. But then it's kind of like, it's helped compensated by Ashley Birch's acting performance. Again, no criticism to the Forspoken actor, but I'm saying then you have kind of like Ashley Birch accommodating this kind of like nice fine line between Chloe keeping her balance. And then you have to give the credit to Philip Barker, who's the VO director in Life is Strange 1 and 2. Like, his direction is now making it less cringe as you'd expect it to be, in the same sense of this clip that we've seen was spoken about this girl talking to this deity that is kind of like helping her out on the journey. I kind of read about what's the kind of like pretense for spoke. I'm just kind of like giving you a very basic kind of like understanding of who these characters are, but it's kind of like it's really defensive, like the way that the criticisms have become and the kind of discourse that's being. I've seen like a lot of developers start tweeting about it on Twitter. I've seen like a lot of people defending this. Like Mr. Mighty Player's tweet went like viral pretty much for like a lot of people like reacting towards it. A lot of people get really defensive. But I was like, you kind of accept what you have because like this game has kind of been put out to pasture. I don't think Square Enix had a lot of faith in it, to be honest, the way that it's been marketed, the way that it's been put out, the review code scenario. And then also the kind of this kind of like, you know, the discourse with the cringe dialogue kind of thing is another one that's going to not necessarily affect it for me personally. I think it's put more attention on it. And I've always said that bad publicity is good publicity in this sense. It's very much good publicity for it because it's giving it so much more context in the conversation of having come out in a period where Dead Space is coming out, Hogwarts Legacy, people have speaking about Forspoken when they weren't even talking about it 3 months ago. So it's good for that sense. I found it really strange when people put the Life is Strange comparison there because I feel like Life is Strange has got a lot of criticism for cringe dialogue. Yes, in parts it is, but it's also, again, the contextualization of the story that these 2 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids or however old they are talking to each other in high school. Like, Jesus Christ, if I could go back in time and get in a time machine and sit there and listen to me when I was talking 16, like, you know, and we've always spoken about that as well. Like I turned the big 3-0 in a couple of months, and then Adam is well on the way to 40. So it's like we know that at this point.
Well, on the way, I'm 2 years in.
Yeah, exactly. That is well on the way to 40.
Well on the way.
Like, well on the way. But like I feel like more of the quote unquote complete person that I am in my life right now because I've got to 30. I feel like you don't know it. You just don't know it 20. You don't know it in the things. You get a certain point in your life, and I think 30 is where I've accepted where I'm at as a person in certain respects. I'm like, now I have a better understanding I've ever done in my entire life than who I am. But with this as well, like I was kind of like confused when I saw that clip. I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, this isn't actual dialogue. I was like, and I was like, watched it, and I was like, and then just like flipped through a lot of replies, and people were like, yeah, but Life is Strange is like this, and Life is Strange didn't get criticized as much as this. I was like, well, Life is Strange got criticized a lot for it. I mean, a lot. It was in pretty much every
It really did.
It was in pretty much every review. It was like kind of like the discourse that I kind of swallowed a lot of the conversation on that. And then kind of like the game benefited from like, you know, influencers and streamers and stuff like kind of making it more mainstream. But the cringe comes down to like where the context is as well. Like sometimes you will make cringe dialogue. You kind of want cringe dialogue. The problem with me personally, and this is where I was like kind of flicking through opinions because like people are saying, oh, this is really funny. And they're like, yeah, it's really funny. It's like, oh, this is great. And I was like, is it? My kind of problem is with this is like the joke she's making, there's no punchline to it. Yeah. So like I really watch like a lot of stand-up comics, and whatever you think of them, that's your opinion. But like you can make a joke about something, even as controversial as it is, but it has to have a punchline.
Yeah.
If there's no punchline and delivery for it, then it's just cringe humor. That's when we descend into cringe humor. So it's like even with the kind of stuff from Life is Strange 1, there's a punchline sometimes to them making these kind of like jokes, like the cringe dialogue.
Not even like a punchline, but like a point to the story. Like what are you trying to say? Like what are you trying to communicate with this joke? It's the same reason why people hate Velma, like the worst animated show on IMDb history, because they were trying to say jokes with no point. Like there's no, what are you trying to say, Velma? Like, there was nothing. It was just a bowl full of nothing.
They should have just made that live action, that show, and then casted Day Horton for it, because like, I can't see anyone not being Velma except for Day. Like Day's worked on Mystery Incorporated as well, if you want to watch that, and Day just seems like is like the living incarnate of Velma. She just looks so much like her. I can't see it when I saw it.
Yeah, which, you know, if you haven't, please support Mystery Incorporated. That's a good Scooby-Doo, like actual context-wise. It's a good Scooby-Doo show, I want to say. What was I going to say? But like, it's still morning for me. But
we're talking about Velma, the animated stuff.
No. Mystery Incorporated is
you were talking about Velma.
Oh no, I was trying to find the word for like is a good Scooby-Doo adaptation. Bang, got it. No. But yeah, whereas Velma is just a bowl full of nothing. Like it's just it's just got no reason for being. Like that's what Velma is, unfortunately. And that's where this dialogue is. Like you said, it's just a bowl full of nothing. There's no point to it. There's no punchline, like you said. There's no context to it. It's just kind of like, you know, it is what it is. But I'm unfortunately not going to play because I believe it's a PS5 exclusive.
Oh,
I don't think it's PS4.
Phil Spencer's avoided that well.
Yes, he has. But no, I don't even think it came out on PS4. I don't believe. I just want to say, because I don't have a PS5, I have a PS4. Forspoken release. Just want to make sure. I want to clarify that PlayStation 5 and Windows. Oh my God, is it out on Steam? Wait, what? Anyways, that's beyond point. But yeah, it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive. So, yeah. Looking at the scores here, Destructoid gave it a 7 out of 10, and Easy Allies gave it an 8 out of 10. Game Informer gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
GameSpot gave it a 6, I believe.
Yeah,
GameSpot's a very good aggregator, usually.
GameSpot gave it a 5 out of 10.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, 5 out of 10.
Right. Never mind.
Yeah. Hardcore Gamer gave it a score.
Was it like 2.5?
It was 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Jeez.
Yeah, those the scores are brutal, especially with like the different publications. And
yeah, Mr. Jordan Helm gave it a 2 out of 5.
I knew Jordan. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
2 out of 5. Oh wow. Yeah, that's a pretty clear indictment of something like that. So, as I said, I'm not going to ruin it on it completely because it's still a developer's game and like they worked on it, but. Like I didn't really kind of get the Life is Strange discourse. Like you said, I think like whether it's a punchline or a kind of like an end talking point for a joke, that's what you need for it to work. And this kind of like fits in that same wheelhouse of like really modern Marvel films where I've seen where they try and make jokes and stuff like it. It reminds me of like, let me just give you one example. It reminds me of X-Men Apocalypse. It's Dark Phoenix. I did not like that film.
No.
And there's a scene in it where it's like opens up in like space and stuff and everything's happening. And I think like after that, there's a moment where Jennifer Lawrence's character, who's Raven, comes up to, I can't remember who she comes up to. I think she comes up to James McAvoy's Patrick Xavier character. And she says, yeah. And I can't remember how she said, she delivers, she's like, yeah, but all the women had to save the job this time. And I was like, you're in the film, and I'm the viewer, and the women, wait, what? It's like, this makes no sense. It's like, what did they do in the last scene? Like, and I was like, oh no, I was like, who wrote this film? I stopped the film that point. I was like, started looking up. I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, I need to know who wrote this film. I was like, that makes the delivery there. It does not justify what you've just set up. It sounds like such a really horrible kind of like, oh yes, the women have done great work there, and we're going to praise them. It's like they didn't do anything there. It's like there's no delivery for it. There's no subtlety towards storytelling there, or even kind of actual like context or kind of like rationality of what you're saying. So I think it's a bit weird. Like, I've always said this to people, like, if you want really good commentary on like women's position in the world and everything else, Silence of the Lambs is a very good film, especially with the way that they commentate on things. It's very subtle, like it's very subtle throughout the entire thing. I think my favorite part is like very early on where Jodie Foster gets in the lift, opening the film, and she's surrounded by like 12, 15 men, all different sizes, shapes as well. And it's very telling about what the FBI is there with women and everything else like that. It doesn't need to make a big point about it. It's telling you straight up what you need to see. Your eyes are visually telling you the social messages that are in the film. But anyway, should we move on from that?
Yes, definitely.
That was a thing you want. So we are obviously recording late January, and I wanted to fit this one because Don't Nod tweeted on the 24th of the 1st, it has already been 4 years since the release of Life is Strange 2, Episode 2 Rules. Time flies. And then also a tweet reminding you that Life is Strange 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch. Now, me and Adam think very differently about rules. This is the one Life is Strange episode I reviewed during my entire time in that industry where I gave it a perfect score. No other Life is Strange episode got that. Maybe I was feeling a bit differently about rules at the time. I think I was like kind of very much starstruck by the last, like the 5-minute cameo that Cassidy has in it. This is Cassidy debut episode of that. And also very, very fittingly ties in nicely with Captain Spirit, as we spoke about before, about early in the episode. But I really enjoyed Rules, Adam. I don't care about what you think as well, because you're a Life is Strange 2 hater turned convert. That's what happened to you.
I have a higher opinion of Rules now, but I still think it's the weakest episode out of the entire game. I think it's the weakest. Pretty sure. It gives context to a lot of things. I'll give you that, but I don't know. I just think that it's the delivery on some points. It's just it comes off like an episode of Arthur almost. It's just so.
You don't like it because your boy Chris is there and you thought he's the main protagonist of Life is Strange 2. That's why you've been relegated to side character role.
Kind of, yeah. But no, it's like it's fine. But like when you, again, the opening of that episode, like it just destroys Mushroom, which I always say that I think the best way to destroy Mushroom is in the 4th episode when we had time to get a real take on Mushroom and real feelings towards Mushroom. And then on the episode 4, you're on the road and you have to decide whether you can feed Mushroom like on the journey or release Mushroom. Either way, he might die on the journey, and you have to risk that and lose him in that way, or her shoot. I have a boy dog, so I just think of all my dogs but as Mushroom like goes on, or release and never see Mushroom again, but it is what it is. But it opens with that, and then you drop your controller for a clean 7 minutes of just like walking.
Yeah, but that's so you can sit down and gauge that Mushroom is dead, because the morality is there. The morality is there. It's killing
7
innocents
minutes?
very early on. Yeah,
No.
7 minutes takes. Yeah, you're not going to maul that dog in like 5 minutes. 7
Yes,
minutes.
I do, because we only got like 5 minutes of screen time with Mushroom. Like, no, I can move on from that.
Yeah, but that's the entire point, though. It's the punch of it. It's like, was that when people like get really like trigger go happy with The Last of Us when it showed the draft scene? That's like, oh, look at humanity and look at all this great kind of thing. It's not like we've got a dog which you think is really cute. You have a young kid with it, and that dog gets ripped apart by like savages. And it's showing that the world is really cruel. It's also changing your perception of morality, your perception on what's right and wrong, what you need to do to defend yourself in the world. All the messages are there, Adam. That's why you need 7 minutes to sit down afterwards and kind of calm yourself down.
7 minutes. You drop your controller and just like you're just kind of waiting there. My Xbox screen will turn dark before I can pick up my controller again. And just like I have to like flick the left stick, just be like, nope, I'm still here. I have a higher opinion of it. I still my weakest, even though Luke watches this and Michel watches this show now. And I can't wait for them to be like, you know what? Out of all of Adam's projects, The Essence of Life was his weakest. I hated that one. It's just, he created it over time and put a lot of energy behind it, but I hate The Essence of Life. So I can't wait for that day to happen. But, I'm not saying that it's a bad episode. I just think it's the weakest out of
Luke
all
watches
5.
this show because I tell you to play Life is Strange 2 and tell other people to play Life is Strange 2. That is the reason why he tunes into this episode.
That's the only reason.
And then he watches you apologize for disrespecting Life is Strange 2 many, many times before, and then eventually changing and becoming a convert. No, on a serious note, Rules I really enjoyed. I thought it was kind of like a good step up after we had a really climactic end of the first episode, kind of a really at times slow build up of the story, but then we kind of like start moving forward, like we're in full course of the journey. We get kind of a big tie-in with Captain Spirit at this point. You kind of get a bit more of a payoff with all the stuff that you did in Captain Spirit. Not that Captain Spirit had to pay off anything; it was just a standalone kind of like teaser for Life is Strange 2. But you get time to kind of like spend with Chris. You kind of get context with Karen as well, which is setting up for later in the game. It's kind of nice to see the relationship with Daniel and Sean kind of unfold, but then also like you again start questioning that again those kind of moral choices start coming into play with Sean. What you're going to do with Daniel, kind of like Chris finding out if he has powers or not. Kind of even the ending as the whole episode as well, where it's like between Chris and whether he gets hurt or not because you tell him he has powers or not, or if he believes that he's standing in front of that car. Is it the car?
Yes.
Where you're standing in front of the car and you can get like, either hurt by it or like, whatever. And that can kind of like lead off into other episodes with like whether you hear from him again or not. But I generally enjoyed like the kind of setup of it. I like the pacing was a little bit slow, but then I like really enjoyed it. It kind of set up things. Again, this is like the great thing with Life is Strange 2. It sets up for things. It's like you have the standalone Captain Spirit. And you eventually meet Chris and his father, and you kind of get context of it, and you kind of get a bit more of a deeper relationship with his father, which is really quite nice as well. His father also reflecting on kind of like the troubles he's gone through, kind of wanting to be a better father for Chris. His loss with his wife. But then also, like, again, it does that thing as well. It's like we now get our introduction to Cassidy and Finn. It's like, it's just very brief, but it's like, oh, hi. It's like these new characters. It's like, these are the people that can set you up for the next episode. So it's like, you kind of get that little taste of them. And as I said, like, it's great. And one of the greatest introductions for me, that any character with Cassidy. And she's just playing First Aid Kit. I find a way. I've really loved that little scene that they did there. But I really enjoyed Rules as well. It was, as I said, it was the one episode I reviewed out the entire. So I reviewed Life is Strange 1, 2. No, I reviewed 3, 4, 5, and the complete season altogether. Then I also reviewed like different versions of it for Hardcore Gamer, and then I reviewed Life is Strange 2, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and then left the industry at episode 5. Never reviewed it, but all the other reviews I reviewed, and they're all on Metacritic as well. This is the one that got the highest score. Maybe I would change the score because I don't think it is the strongest episode now. Yeah. Again, I was having to play it in hindsight. I do want to do an episode where you review my review scores for Life is Strange, because I think that'd be interesting because they're written at different times.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't probably give it the best score. I think personally my favorite is episode 3 with the Wastelands. I really enjoy that episode because, as I said, then you get the meat of the relationship with Cassidy and Finn and the Drifters and all that. I think that's
I agree,
and that's where you see the really colourful cast of characters. Like they're really so great as well, like to kind of talk to and interact with. But episode 2, Rules, I really enjoyed. I thought it's kind of like a good stepping stone. Going, I can see in your face. I can see in your face, man. Stop hating on Rules, man. It's great. People comment in the comment section. Tell Adam he is wrong about episode 2, Rules. Great episode. That's what it is.
It's fine. It's a good episode. It's fine. It's good. It gives context to the story. That's all I'll give it. It gives it a lot of context and a lot of bone to the story. Yeah. Yes.
And it's a great episode as well. So we'll move on to our next topic. I don't want to go on too much. We'll definitely probably explore it more, episode 2 Rules, at some point. So let's put this other news piece in here. This is this is my last news piece before our main topic. Our main topic. So we are going to Twitter. We have the wonderful Miss Katy Bentz tweeting a photo of her doing the audio reading for Steph's story. She's put on Twitter, "We're a little over halfway through, and OMG, you are all going to love it. Rosiee 4 captured the essence of Life is Strange and Steph beautifully. I can't wait for everyone to read/listen to this story." And then also as well, Rosiee 4 quote tweeted Katie's tweet, "Having my book about Steph read by Katy for the audiobook is a dream come true. Absolutely over the moon that we got to work together for this project, and I can't wait for you all to read it in March, or even listen to it, Rosiee, as we got here. Stay tuned for more Steph story news in the coming weeks too." So we got a little hint there as well from Rosiee as well that we will probably get a bit more from there. Imagine maybe as well official artwork as well for the book, because it is pending that, as we've repeatedly seen. But I want to put that in as well because I feel like Life is Strange news is Life is Strange news, and obviously Katie's working on that as well. Very happy for Katie to work on it. And it's a big W that for Square Enix for doing the audiobooks. It seemed for me naturally 101 to kind of do one.
Yeah. No, it's I'm definitely gonna listen to this book. Like I'm definitely gonna listen to it. Like it's just I don't know if I can read this book. Like I have to listen to it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like for me the listening part will be the first part, because I'm not a book reader. I'm not a reading kind of person. So and with like Katie doing it, it just feels like, you know, it's kind of a win-win, isn't it? Having heard Steph for so many years with her voice on it, it seems. But I probably will pick the book up in the end then afterwards once I've like listened to the voice just to see how it reads anyway. But I think it's just a go-to for anything. Like if they want to really capitalize on the kind of sales numbers and kind of really drawing people, I think an audiobook just seems to be the way of going about it, to be honest.
Yeah, especially since it's being read by Katy Bentz. Like I don't know. I'm gonna have to like listen to this. Like I definitely want to read it, but like I don't know. Like audiobook, I don't really tend to go towards audiobooks. That's just me. Like, I don't know, because like, I guess I get so distracted with other things that if I'm just listening, I'll miss a part, but it's being read by Katy Bentz. It's being read by Steph herself. So this is going to be one of the rare audiobooks that I'm going to be listening to instead of reading.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm with you on that. So I just wanted to share that as well, because it's a little bit of news. There's not huge amounts to talk about. We will obviously cover more Steph story as it comes out and everything else.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
That is all our news done. So as well, as I said, we've got a lot more news this week. I'm very more happy compared to the last episode, and a lot to talk about. But we are now on to the big piece of news, which is obviously news, but also turned into our main topic. I was like, you know what, we'll do another main topic. This will take center stage. Which, as I said before, if you want to as well, you can go onto YouTube. You can check my independent reaction out before this as well. It was a very quick reaction to this, but we'll cover it now. So Don't Nod Entertainment Twitter account on the 21st of the 1st, 2023 tweeted,
Yes.
here's a little glimpse of what Don't Nod Montreal is brewing. Does it bring back childhood memories? ? We are looking for talent to join the team in Montreal on this new narrative game. Find old job openings here and a photo of it. So on the previous episode, on the Independent, like as I said, I read a lot of the developers who were tweeting in real time. It was like constantly when I was doing it, it's like caught real time. And I've covered a lot of them. And a lot of the developers I did tweet out saying that you should follow them as well. All really nice people. Definitely go and check them out. They're on Twitter. They'll give you more stuff about this as well. And just generally it gives you more faces to this game than just Luc and Michel, you know? I think like that's the kind of the thing I want to highlight, if anything.
Yes.
And then on top of that, for this one, we're going to Michel himself as well. So Michel was the one that I didn't get to do that. So Michel is the studio creative director at Don't Nod Montreal, and he tweeted just saying, I'm so proud to be working on this game with our talented team. Look at this art style and atmosphere. So yes, the atmosphere is here. And if you go into the replies as well, a lot of people are asking Michel what it means. And well, you ain't getting anything from him yet.
No.
So news is there. Adam, this is all you first. I've as I said, my opinions are kind of very early have been out there. I've had more time to digest, but go on. Let me know.
I'm going to say this right now. This takes place between 1993 or 1995. Like straight up. This is either 93, 94, or 95. It's in that 2 years.
90s.
Early 90s, to be more specific. Because that right there specifies that's most likely a SNES. Like it's like quality of a SNES. It's not exactly an N64. N64 came out in 97, whereas the SNES came out in 91 or 92, I believe. One of those two. It looks
years. Like I said on the reaction video, it's like SNES meets PlayStation.
Yeah, like that's definitely like a PlayStation 1/SNES kind of version. So I'm going to say this takes place between 93 and 97. That's definitely an hour later. That's right there. Those little candies right there. That's definitely like a nod to Now or Laters. So Now or Laters were invented in the 60s, but they were real popular in the early 90s. Like they were real popular. Now or Laters. I miss Now and Laters so much. That's either a Starburst or a Now or Later, but I'm going to say that's a Now or Later. Right
it
there.
Looks like on the actual text as well. It said Lip Up Blue.
Lip Up. Yeah.
Lip Up Blues. I can't see the second one, but it's definitely Lip Up, the first one.
Yeah, lip up, as you know, French people would say. I'm a French person by sort of, not really. I'm not even a little bit French, but no, that's definitely like a lip up, but or as we like to call it, it's an hour later. It really is an hour later. But now, does this take place in America? Most likely. But there's a chance this could be taking place in Canada as well. I'm not going to say why, but I just have a feeling that with the wood aesthetic. Oh, by the way, all the wood aesthetic, that's early 90s. That's straight up early 90s.
I'm with you, Adam, by the way. I think it's definitely 90s because even the cabinet, cabinet, the VCR and the TV is like, it screams 1990 that for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to say... I'm gonna make a bet, and this is taking place in 1994. I'm gonna say 1994. This game is taking place because the aesthetic, the VCR, all of the tapes,
the VHS tower. We don't even have VHS towers anymore. That is like normal for me.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody has VHS towers. No one has DVD towers anymore. Like it's just all Netflix. It's all just like you all just subscribe to your movies instead of owning it. But that's the thing. This type of furniture, this video game console, the Now or Laters, the VHS tower, the wood aesthetic. I'm going to say this is 94. I'm going to say that right now. This is in the place of 1994. Someone pointed out that saying like, oh, it's beautiful that this CRT TV has all 3 ports for all the colors instead of for 2. And I'm like, yeah. Good times. I saw
that in the reaction videos as I watched it. I was like, oh, look, the port cables. I was like, oh my God, these kids will never know.
They'll never know the ports. Like all HDMI. It's just like, no, dude, no.
You will never know those struggles with those free cables, man.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think I'm going to be just to kind of change up the opinion. I'll say 96. I think it's like towards
96?
the later. Yeah, like towards later end. So if I'm basing it on more of the PlayStation hybrid kind of console, so I'm going to say it's like 96 or something. I have Adam, do you know what? I have a really funny feeling. When Luke tweeted at us, it's kind of like live rent-free in my head, where he's like, it'd be interesting for you guys to go back and listen to what you said in your episode and hear what you said, because I think we weren't, one of us, or even both of us, aren't totally far away from what we think this game's going to be.
Yes.
I think that there's a lot of focus on that. Like, like as I said, like I spent like a lot of time like dissecting this photo, and one of our listeners as well, Dreamwalker, was messaging me on Twitter as well. We were talking, me and him, where it's like he was giving me a lot of his theories, which were really interesting. You can definitely comment in the comment section as well, like if people want to like hear what he says as well. And I kind of run through like some of the things that he said with me as well, because he asked me on the cabinet, the VHS tape that's on there, he's like, do you think that how much relevance it has? And I'm like, he's like, is it 30%? And I'm like, yeah, but then at the same time, I'm like, but also at the same time, I think it's almost like 90%, because I think a lot of this game is going to be told through the VHS tapes as well. I think like one of my favorite games of the last decade, and I don't know if I'm living with nostalgia glasses a bit more now, is Resident Evil 7. And I really loved in Resident Evil 7 the cassette tape usage. Like the VHS tape usage was so cool for some of those scenes that they did in that game. And I was like, if it wasn't as important, they would tell you what the text is as well on there, because it's very much like scribbled on with two different fonts as well. So it's black and purple. Purple seems to be a big theme of that, because it's in the VHS logo that they have for that. And just to quickly read that, he put here, this is Dreamwalker's thing to me, and just to give him props for it as well.
Yeah.
It says,
I saw him zooming in on those. Yeah.
Yeah, he sent me
I saw him
pictures
zooming in.
He sent me a zooming picture. That's why Luc, Michel, and these are not going to tweet anything like that. That you can start exploring, because people will start looking at this. Yeah, and I was doing the exact same thing as Dreamwalker was doing. He put, I don't know if this is better. Looks like two black words might be ask if, the first one, which would make sense. It looks like 3 words and then 2. And the first word, the first pink word, looks a lot like people. So like that seems to be right as well. It looks like, or it could be peoples. It looks like it's got an apostrophe there. So I said to him, I was like, I think it could be peoples on thingy. Yeah. So and as I said, like there's like a lot of stuff there. So I think the tape has more relevance to what it's letting on. I don't know what the white device is next to the VHS player. It could just be.
I think that's just cassette. Like a cassette like case. Yeah,
potentially. So it's like I said in my video when I was watching this, I was like, it gave me Captain Spirit vibes, because the room that we play in Awesome Adventures Captain Spirit, that's our kind of like first point of view of like a living room that we're in, because we're pretty much in Chris's house. So it kind of gave me very similar vibes of that, but being in a house kind of scenario. So it's like obviously the art style direction and stuff like that is very similar for me in terms of what Don't Nod's doing. So I think the chewing gum has relevance to it there more than anything else. Obviously, I think the big hint is the game that is in the VHS. It's in the console more so than anything else as well. I think the little like tell me why entity kind of like thing that's on the front of the.
I guess it is bubble gum, yeah. Because like I see a little bit of gum on the console. That little green spot on the top left. That's definitely like a piece of like candy that's on it. So I guess it's gum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's gum. And it's not, I've never seen gum look like that, though. That's like the shape of an hour later.
Yeah.
In America, but like the little squares. But I could be wrong. It's just a little gum. Le pop, like pop a bubble of gum, le pop. But
it looks like our console's called the Uni. I'm going to take off that. It looks like UNI, that.
Yes.
And then obviously, as I said to you as well, the big thing is the design of the cartridge as well.
Well, I'm looking at the design of the controller, the dog bone controller. That's a SNES right there. That's a dog bone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the relevance of this game is like that. Like this contextualizes this game as set in the 1990s for me. There's no way we're not going predating 80s. It's not Atari. It's not anything else.
I'm thinking early 90s. You're thinking later 90s.
I'm thinking later 90s just because I'm being controversial here. Like just to think about it as well. The American home for you, like general, like from what we know, where would you put this? Because like again, that might contextualize it as well. Would you say this is like an American home in the 1990s?
Yes, for sure. Like
right, so
like the wood
cabinetry
and that chair right there, that green chair, that aesthetic of chair. That is early 90s. Like later 90s, there was more of like a blue aesthetic. There was more like a little bit more vibrant colors, I want to say. Like, I don't want to say like vibrant, like neon, like the 80s, but this is more grungy, down to earth. This is like early 90s kind of aesthetic, like the wood paneling, the wood furniture, this sort of pine kind of coffee table and the green chair, that screams like 1993, 1994 in terms of like aesthetic.
Okay. So that's fine. I'm going to bring my date back from 96 to 95. I'm trying not to pick the same date as you, but I think 94 you're probably on right, because I think intentionally that console is with the dog bone controller and that, and even obviously we've seen prototypes of the the PlayStation SNES and the stuff that console that Nintendo and Sony were going to work on anyway. I think that's a hybrid between the two consoles. It's very telling to me that this game is going to now be set in the 90s. Plus also VHS as well. VHS were on the advent on the way out towards the end of the 90s with the advent of the DVD into the early 2000s. I think everyone in America, or even like in the UK, had like a staple video collection and top of that as well, the tower as well, and the cartridges. It's set in the 90s. This is not 2000s unless they're really unless they're really
effing with us. This isn't even the 80s. This is not an 80s console. Like, this is definitely, because like I was looking at CRT TVs and like what aesthetic this is. That is an early 90s CRT TV. Yeah, it's not an 80s one. The 80s ones had like wood paneling on the side of them, or even like a metallic. They were built in
like the Simpsons boxes, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. That's like more of 80s. This is definitely a 90s CRT.
Black was in fashion as well at this point as well, because I remember having black, big Panasonic, big TV like this.
Yes,
and it was like the black was the color for me. So and the same with the black VHS as well. It's like these colors all hit home, man. And it also, you know, Luc, Michel, come on, like you have to make me feel old, man. Doing stuff like this. Like a VHS tape is like an artifact. It's like stop it, just stop it. I'm not willing to accept that I'm going to be 30 this year, and it's like, oh. Like it would have shown it if they would have put like a Game Boy there or something. Then it would be like, oh my god, I'm like,
no, if they put a Game Boy there, that would have been a dead giveaway. But no, I think this is definitely in there. Well, this is all a dead giveaway. The design of the TV, the design of the furniture, the VHS tapes, those are all screaming early 90s. But yeah, I do agree with you with what you said, that I think if we zoomed in like what Dreamwalker did, I think we zoomed in on these VHS tapes, that would give away some of the story, because a lot of the story is going to be told through the VHS tapes.
Through them, because like on the left side of the tower, look at all these tapes. They've got writing on them, hand scribbled. There's something that tells me, it's like, I don't know if it was you or me or whoever said it. I was like, I could see the story being told through VHS tapes where they're going back in time. Like these are adults now playing these kind of consoles. Like I think intentionally, like the console is like a throwback to their childhood or something. But this is like an adult's house. Living there, and like the VHS tapes on the side are like adventures with like whatever camera or something like that, and they're telling a certain story. It's like a recording of each day. Like they are hand VHS tapes. So those ones look like they've been recording something. Like for what I can tell from my own personal experience, again feeling elderly in this, but we used to have those kind of ones. Like they were like during the bulk VHS tapes you could buy, and then start recording things. They look like they look pretty much on that, and then obviously like a bunch of cartridges underneath that as well in the tower at the bottom. I tried to zoom in on the right hand side behind the TV, behind the sofa. I couldn't really see much. It seems like pretty much standard.
I'm gonna say this is like someone's basement. Like this is definitely in a basement, because the stairs are going down, and there's not much on that counter except for like, you know, little knickknacks here. This is like someone's den. Like this is like the man cave almost of the 90s. So there is a possibility, and hear me out here, there is a possibility this is also set in like the present day, but like they're downstairs is set in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's definitely a possibility. Is it likely? Probably not. But like it is possible that in their basements, like it's probably an adults like living back in the 90s, going backwards, and then he set up his whole den as a 90s aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible, and I think it'd be interesting writing, but I don't think they're doing that.
I think it was on that episode where I was like, we had a theories episode you can go and watch it, and we listen to it. I think it was said like it's like two people are going to connecting with each other or something like that, reconnecting, or it's like they're trying to figure out something, and that gives me more of a dead way, because like look at the console as well. Look how many controller ports there are.
Yeah, there's two.
There's two people in this room. There's going to be two people. Yeah, I think the way the formula has worked so far for Luc and Michel, two characters seems to be like they kind of like go forward for them, and I don't think they're going to deviate from this. I think there's more telling to it. Like there's two control ports put in there. Might just be reading into it, but I think there's definitely something like that.
Are they friends or are they siblings? That's the real one. Or are they?
I think they're like it's similar to Life is Strange 1 meets It Part 2. Do you know what I
Okay.
said? Like where it's like they're two friends, very close friends at one point,
Yes.
and they grew apart like over a long period of time, and they've like reconnected. Just gives me, I don't know why it is for it too. I remember watching it, so I'm thinking like, well, Montreal's game, it's something that seems to connect. I have the funny feeling the way that film's set up. So like when they all come back together after doing their little pact, saying like, you know, if it ever comes back, Pennywise, like we'll come back together, we'll do it. And then you kind of see them crossing at a different point in their life, and like the way that they think about things that happened in the past life looks differently. I think it's two people that know each other or knew sort of a very long time for like young childhood, and then kind of grew up differently and then have now come back together in some kind of way. And it might sound a bit too much close to Life is Strange 1, but I don't think it's going to be intentionally like that. I think it's going to be quite different at the same time. Because it's not going to just be like a 5-year gap with like Max or Chloe or like whichever, however long that gap is. It's like, it's going to be lengthy in terms of like how long they've kind of reconnected.
Yeah.
Are you thinking it's brother and sister, or sister and sister, and brother?
I think, I think it's going to be a sibling. I think it's going to be a sibling dynamic. I think I think it might be a sibling in terms of like maybe brother and sister, maybe, because that could work. But I think they want to try another brother situation. Like in terms of Life is Strange 2, I think they want to do the whole brother dynamic again, but in a different context. Like it might be sister and sister, but I think they want to try the sibling dynamic again, since Life is Strange 2 didn't really do so well in terms of commercial. Like I think they want to try it again. I think they're trying for a sibling dynamic again. Older brother, boy girl, yeah. Could be.
I think it's a love interest that like doing these two people have kind of come back together, because the first game is girl, the second game's boy.
You started freaking me out because then I thought I said like I think it's brother and sister. There's going to be a romantic dynamic. I'm like,
whoa.
That's what I said.
Like, mate. It's not Sweet Home Alabama. This. No.
I was like, it just did a whole U-turn there. I was like, whoa.
We ain't doing that here. I'm talking about like for my scenario. If it's the guy and the girl who have like reconnected, I think it's a boy and a girl, because the first game, Life is Strange 1, is girl. Life is Strange 2 is boy. This would shake up the formula of boy and girl. I feel like we're naturally progressing to the evolution of boy and a girl as a two main protagonists kind of like scenario.
Now, yeah, I don't know. Like it's definitely a lot to look at, but you know, we can definitely confirm this is in the early 90s. There are 2 controller ports, meaning that there are 2 characters within this game. Like you said, I think those VHS tapes definitely mean something. Like there's definitely something behind those VHS tapes, like in the writing, in something. Congratulations, like kudos to Dreamwalker for attempting to read the VHS tapes. But yeah, this is definitely an early 90s. This is in the basement, so this is probably where the like headquarters are. You know, like investigation headquarters where they watch the VHS tapes. And I think there's going to be certain dynamics where it was a lot like an interactive watching. So I'm thinking in a way of like in the first Life is Strange, where you get a photograph and you kind of have to tilt the sticks a certain way, and you have to do like focus in on something. I'm thinking more of the way of a game called Immortality that just came out, where you watch footage within a game and you're trying to find clues within it, and you get to click on the clues and then kind of rewind it and go back for it. Immortality, by the way, super weird. I haven't beaten it yet. I don't understand what I'm doing, but you know, it is what it is. I did the whole rewind thing, and anybody that's played Immortality, I understand. I did the whole rewind. I found secret characters. I got it. I understand. I just don't understand. Anyways, I don't get it. But yeah, I think there might be an interactive watching the VHS tapes, because if all the story is said through these VHS tapes, they might do what they did in Life is Strange 1 with the whole interaction with the photographs, but instead of photographs, it's going to be video.
VHS tapes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like almost, I don't know if I'm deeply feeling this, it's kind of like almost a throwback to like Max's rewind power. You're rewinding VHS tapes and kind of like accessing memories. I think VHS tapes are like memories for you. And I say that recently because weirdly enough, like my brother recently got his first birthday party imported from a VHS tape to a DVD. Like you sent it off to a company and they got it back. But like you when you live this lifestyle, and I think like especially with us getting older and stuff like the stress of like rewinding a VHS tape after like watching it, and I'm like, no, don't get any spoilers. Like when it's like rewinding, I know. I feel like there's
that's where the rewinder machine happened, where you put it in that separate. And you just press the button and just rewinds the tape instead of you doing it through the VCR. I love those things.
Mate, it's so good. There's a couple of like tweets in here. Obviously, like as I said, the other one I like really was running it through real time, just to kind of like tell you who said what. I didn't get to all of them, but I did get through quite a lot of them. Quickly grab this one. This was from Joyce De Silva on Twitter at Joy Silverheart. She is environment artist at Don't Nod Entertainment. I believe she'll obviously be working on this game then. She put, look at this beautiful thing. It's the first image of the new game I've been working on with this talented team. Yes, it's not because I work on environments, but the art, it's looking so cool. Now add to that the narrative power of Don't Nod. And someone specifically worked on this one. I remember, see if I can find it. Was it Marion? Marion might have tweeted it. Marion might have tweeted it. Just apologies, guys. I'm just quickly trying to find these tweets for it. Was it Marion? Yes, it was.
Yes.
So it was Marion Eskian.
Yeah.
Eskian. I believe I got that right. She put hype. So proud to be working on such an exciting project. And in brackets, also, I might have worked on this level. So
nice.
That's I think, as I said to you before, there's a lot of Don't Nod Montreal's team is on Twitter. You can go and follow them. You should follow them as well. They'll be sharing a lot of things, and they're all very nice as well. Helps you put a face to the people that are making this game. Remember, that is very important. But yeah,
man,
you know what? As well, Adam.
Everybody is quote tweeting this like Life is Strange, Life is Strange, Life is Strange, Life is Strange, Life is Strange. I'm like, it's not Life is Strange. Like Life is Strange vibes. Life is Strange 3. Is it Life is Strange? I'm like, let them move on. Let them move on.
Chris from Life is Strange fans had to tweet with like a massive disclaimer at the top saying like, this is not Life is Strange, but this is from Luc and Michel, who worked on the first two Life is Strange. And
I see.
Just to reiterate, it's not Life is Strange. Like you'd like reiterate it multiple times. And I didn't have to blame because the minute that you post something like this out, someone's going to say Life is Strange. This.
So the full tweet says, "FYI, this is a new IP from a new Don't Nod studio that includes key LIS staff Michel and Luc. We're sharing it because we're naturally excited about a new game that this is." But from these talented creators, but it is not an LIS game. That said, it will no doubt share similarities, so get hyped. And that's what he says.
No, it's a spot on tweet. When I saw him tweet that, I was like, yes. I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to be on that thing. I tweeted at the beginning of that that image as well, which I put at times to dissect all these clues. It's weird because like in this as well, Anthony, who posts on Twitter, put, do you think it'll be Life is Strange-esque, as in story-driven interactive game, not so much connect to Life is Strange? And I put, my first two replies were, I would think so. It'll have similar beats to the life that made Life is Strange pop, but it feels like it'll be, but it'll feel refreshing at the same time, not a carbon copy or anything. Knowing Luc and Michel's work of the past, I suspect a story-driven interactive experience is at the heart of this. And then I could be very much wrong. I've been wrong a lot of times in the past. Just like FYI that.
Yeah. Now,
do you know one thing though, Adam? Before you pitch me your thing, keep a hold of it because I don't want you to forget it either. Are you really absolutely convinced this is 1990s? Because I was just looking through some of the quote replies and someone said, I think this could be early 2000s, and it could technically be early 2000s because we didn't get rid of VHS and stuff like this until, where was the advent of like plasma TVs and stuff? I think it was like mid 2000, was it like 5 maybe? Like 2004, 2005?
I think this video game console design is on purpose and it's supposed to like set where this is. Like, if that's the case, then yeah, you can say this is a retro console at this point. But I think if you're going to make it in the early 2000s, you would have made a disc-based console rather than, a cartridge-based console. So I think they shared this image on purpose to let you know this is what it is, because otherwise, like, this could be set in the year 2030. But like I said, my whole thing of like, but its basement is designed to be 1993. I don't think that's really fair to the audience to like give these kind of clues and then just be like, psych, his basement was just a retro place. I don't think it's because I think the design of the video game console that's in this thing, it's PlayStation 1 meets SNES, and that is early 90s. So
it's got to be in the 90s. I feel like there's something that for them to go back to the 90s. I think they're telling something recently. They should also, Don't Nod, release a collector's edition, and it's packaged in that console with the game in it. Like, Don't Nod, this is why I should be working for you guys. Hire me. That is a collector's edition idea. People would buy that. The console, you open up, it has the game in there, and like a packet of Le Pop as well. Put a packet of Le Pop in there and sell it with them.
Yes.
That should be sent to the influencers team. Here's your pack of Le Pop as well.
Now,
so anyway, what were you going to say to me?
I was. They are hiring. Are they? They're hiring a animation chef. Oh, look at that!
I did say that in my video where you should be applying for
an animation chef. It's all in French, so I don't know what this means. But what I'm hearing is that I'm chefing up animation, so I can do that.
I mentioned in the other one that I did, where on my own, where I said that they still got the name your job role. Do you know what we talked about? Where it's like, anyone can apply for it.
Oh, look at that sound design. Ooh, well, looky there. Well, looky there. There's a little sound design, and interesting, but it's all in French, and I can't understand the French. I can say baguettes. I know what escargot is. I've made ratatouille.
Yeah,
so,
but you didn't make ratatouille like Luke's grandma, so you ain't getting a job there.
No,
you're gonna have to pass up with that.
And is this job in Montreal? It is in Montreal. Interesting. I don't think I would ever be hired for this job because I don't have any professional roles in sound design, unfortunately, but it is what it is. One can dream, I guess. But anyways, but Luke, if
I might go for the name your job role, especially for marketing.
Yeah.
My collector's edition idea is going to make a lot of money for that.
Oh yeah,
I think it'd be a sweet idea. Philly cheese royalties as well. I'd accept payments and don't even need to be paid. Just pay me in Philly cheese.
Jeez.
Like,
all I'll say though is, Luke, if you're watching this, I'm releasing a new track on February 7th. So if you like the sound of that track, that's going to be, by the way, little plug, it's going to be an Ollie Ollie World feel. Like it's going to be an ode to Ollie Ollie World. So it's that sort of music coming out the year dates of Ollie Ollie World. So if you like that, hit your boy up. But anyways, no, what I was going to say is that, hey, Adnan.
Yes.
What if it is Life is Strange 3?
No, it's not. Just
what
stop
if it is?
I'm not engaging this. It is not Life is Strange. There is not a
what
chance.
If they're just trying to trick us?
Look, I get a lot of things wrong. It is not Life is Strange.
What if it is?
No, it's not Life is Strange.
They're just like, oh, it's not Life is Strange 3. But what is it? No, it's not Life is Strange 3. And then they release it like,
no,
it's
not
Life
a
is
chance.
Strange 3.
Not a chance. This is definitely not that. It's self-published, isn't it? Oscar Gobert's already said it's self-published. This is one of the games that's in there.
Yeah.
Just to quickly run through this one more thing as well. I was just looking at some of my messages with Dreamwalker that he sent me. Just trying to find out this.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things he put, like, what if the pink text is like the branding of a library or a collection that the tape came from, and black is the title. I'm abandoning the people idea because that first pink letter looks a lot like an R, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the word is lowercase, and maybe the black text ends in Ohio, which would make sense on A or OA, considering the sudden change from black to pink on the next line.
Ohio.
Also, I noticed behind the TV on the right are stair railings. So this is another multi-story house like the Price household. There you go, Adam.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think this is the basement. I think what we're seeing is the basement of the house.
This is why you're more helpful, by the way, Adam, than me, because I live in the UK. So this is a house that looks alien to me. It's just like, it's just really good that has your.
No, I think they might set this like in the East Coast. Like if it is Ohio, Ohio is technically the Midwest. So I live in North Dakota right now, which is Midwest. Like that is Midwest. Whereas Ohio is like the start of the Midwest. Like it's technically, in Pennsylvania territory, but people call it the Midwest. So it is what it is.
Do you think they'll go down there though? Because let's have a look at the map though as well. Obviously, Oregon, Arcadia, Oregon, where we're putting that on the map. Then the Diaz brothers kind of like carves out a large section of the map. Like the way
think about this too is that They live in the East Coast now. Montreal is on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So they have a better understanding of what America is because they can actually travel to these areas.
Well, didn't Luke travel to Pennsylvania?
He did travel to Pennsylvania. Luke was in Philadelphia. He was in my stomping grounds in Philadelphia. Yeah. He went to Love Park. Like he went to Pennsylvania. Bro, if this is set in Philadelphia, oh my God. Bro, if this is set in Philly, I'm gonna lose my mind because here's the thing.
Well, weirdly enough, that was the only time I've seen him somewhere. I feel like 101 stalker here, but like traveling wise, that's the only time I've seen him recently travel somewhere. It was with him and his other half that went. I sent
bro, if this is set in Philadelphia, I'm gonna cry. Like I'm straight up gonna be like,
it could be.
Because like here's the thing, this reminds me of the house I grew up in Philadelphia. If this is in a row home in Philadelphia, if you don't know what a row home is, it's basically a townhouse, but they're all connected. It's all in a row. So you're like right next to people. And it's very small houses in Philadelphia. So this screams to me like that's why it looks so familiar. I'm like, no, this is 1993 because like I grew up in a house like this, like wood aesthetic, the green couch. And so you're saying that, yeah, they were in Philadelphia. Oh my God, dude. Bro, what if this is set in Philadelphia? Oh, so, bro.
From what I know, and like how it is anyway, like Michel and like and the way he works on social media, he's not really actively active in social media, and like Luke isn't, and like does his own thing. The only place I've recently seen him travel anywhere was when I sent you a tweet of him. I was like, he's in your stomping ground, and you were like, ha ha ha, and it was like that, and we didn't really take it beyond that. Obviously, again, as I said, he was with his other half, and they were doing thingy, but you know, maybe
because I will say that like
due diligence there of research.
Because Northeast Philly, where I grew up in Northeast, let's go. Northeast Philly is like a big, like, it's the largest section in Philadelphia. Now, if they're going to set in Philadelphia, they're going to go Center City or South Philly, which, if you're wondering what South Philly is, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that's South Philly. Northeast Philly is, if you watch Rocky, the very first Rocky, that's Northeast Philadelphia. So he grew up in Kensington. That's North Philly, northeast. But oh my God, if this is
like,
set in Philly,
because it's here. Like I'm looking at it now, like Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia. And the federal capital, Washington D.C., make up the East Coast of America. And East Coast doesn't seem like an area that they've really tackled yet.
No. And like it,
and as you said, they're based in Canada now as well.
With Montreal. Montreal is on the East Coast.
And I'm gonna be. I don't think it's set in a state like Florida, for example.
No,
I think,
it's not going to be Florida.
No, and
Florida in the '90s was very a white aesthetic. Like it was very clean, crisp in the '90s. Whereas, you know, Midwest and the East Coast is very wood aesthetic. I don't know anything about the West Coast in the 90s, but this screams my household in the 90s.
That would make more sense because it kind of like, that's why I started looking up, because when you mentioned it, I think we're not far away from where we see the game. Because if you're seeing very similar aesthetics and just from obviously one screenshot, we can only see so much of it. It might be Pennsylvania, but it might be other stuff around. It might be stuff near it as well, so it could be one of the neighboring states.
Bro, why they gotta release a game in Philadelphia when I moved to North Dakota? Like, this is not... Here's the other thing, man. Like, I moved to North Dakota, and within that time span, my Philadelphia Phillies get into World Series. They lost. My Eagles get into the Super Bowl. They're going to win. The 76ers are now in the top 3 in the NBA, in the entire league. Sixers are in the top 3. And now they're going to be releasing a game in Philadelphia. And I'm not here. I'm in North Dakota.
I hope for the sequel, you leave North Dakota and go back to Philadelphia and they set the sequel in North Dakota. I'd be
so pissed.
That'd be so good.
Oh my God.
As I said, there's a lot of stuff that Dreamwalker told me in this. I'm not going to go through all of it because, like, as I said, he is like God. Like, it's like he's broken into so much stuff on here, and you could like go on for like, I mean, this is like deep exploration. This is an example why they probably like hid certain things from the details, because like if he hadn't done it, I probably would have done it. and he's more thorough with his stuff as well. Because like what he sent me was very interesting, just to FYI. And as I said, like kind of like last time saying that it's with the TV as well, saying that the housing as well. I kind of like looked at that when I saw the image, thinking like, oh yeah, this is like a landing floor, but I never even thought it was multi-story because like I don't live in the US, so I don't think about having like a basement floor with like this is as you guys do, because I don't think basements even really exist here in the UK.
Yeah.
I've never really been in the UK basement, if anything.
Yeah, in older houses too, the basement is actually like the ceiling is shorter. In older houses in the East Coast, in the first floor and the second floor, the ceilings are like taller. They're normal height, but in the basements, the ceilings are shorter, especially in the East Coast, because people don't really go in the basement. It's kind of for storage. But in the 90s, the basement was where it was at, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. I swear, dude, if it's in Philadelphia, I'm going to be so angry. I'm going to be so angry.
It's a good shout, though. It's a good shout for it. Because, like, as I said, like, this is, I think, like, if you're going to try and do 101 deduction work, we are actually kind of technically experts in this part of it, because we now have to tap into childhood memories.
Yeah.
Because like when we talk about other things, like I can kind of see the appeal with this podcast. Sometimes I know people might not connect with us because we're two different people from different spaces and stuff like that, and etc. But like this is kind of like in the wheelhouse, because like we're from like Luke and we're before Luke and Michel's generation. We're not hugely far disconnected from them, but we lived through this time. So like for this now, it's like kind of like where we're going through kind of things like tapping into it. Like when I saw all this room, I was like, it just made me feel so like utterly nostalgic. I just didn't really know how to feel at first, because like, so this is my childhood to an extent.
That is me in the 90s, by the way. So just putting that out there.
For the listeners.
Now that wasn't in Philadelphia. That was in Bensalem, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. But nonetheless, it's very much like, Cool Guy Joe, but like I grew up in this time in Philadelphia, and just like the wood aesthetic and all that, like, this is
the wood aesthetic is very telling. Again, someone who's not American, I've seen this in like enough households of TV shows that I've watched and films I've watched of the past, so it's kind of giving you an inkling of that. I think obviously as well, like we have to reiterate as well, they've been very clever with the picture they've shown us as well. Like they're not going to show us any more details, because as I said, it's either going to be Dreamwalker or someone like us, like going really deep into something, and you'll start picking up things on it. So they've intentionally done that, and I think they've intentionally done with some of the pictures as well. Like you can't read any of the text on there. Like one of the VHS tapes says golden something. I can't even see the rest of it.
Sorry, I just realized. So there's one side that there's one side that's all in French, and there's the other side that's all in English. And I was just clicking on. Just clicking on the French side, like it's all in French. Why is it all in French? I'm like, because I was clicking on the wrong side, you idiot. But
Adam, I think we talked about this a lot, but I kind of wanted to pick one more thing on you.
Yes.
Do you think this game's coming sooner than you think? Or I think as well?
Yeah, I do. Because we have an image, like we have like in-engine footage of a game. When I say in-engine, not in-game, there's a big difference. But in-engine footage... the difference between in-engine and in-game is that in-engine you can like run a certain, let's just say a simulation, like a certain like drawing of your concept, and you can like show something that's within that camera. Like you can move that camera within your level and just like click a picture almost like of your sketch. Whereas in-game, you're actively playing the products, like you're actually putting out there. So when I say in-engine, this is most like an in-engine. So I would say it's coming sooner than we think, but I don't think it's coming soon.
Do you think it's this year?
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out like this year, but I think it's maybe summer of 2020. What's that?
Do you not find sorry to keep interrupting, but do you not find it funny that Don't Nod put out a tweet recently saying there's another game coming out in 2023, and then this is the first image they shared?
I don't think so. I
was questioning my entire existence after I saw this image, because like, wait a minute, I was like, they tweeted not too long ago at the beginning of the month, there's another game coming out in 2023, and the first image they share post that tweet from a video game they're making is specifically Montreal's project. Obviously in that tweet they did show the two videos, there were two different logos they showed, not Montreal's, but then very interesting for them to show what Montreal's working on then.
Mm.
And I'm a bit like, maybe that's just part of the advertisement thing that they, again, you know, they work in a game, etc. And then also the job listing vacancies. As I said, there are quite a few job listing vacancies there. There's still work to be done on this project, and I still think it's quite far out. But it seems to be like we're making substantial progress forward. And my only mindset that I keep convincing myself is that they just won't put their two biggest game releases out in the same year. Because Banishers is coming out later this year, part of that collaboration with Focus, and then this is the first like other independent game that they have as well in production. But it's like, would you really want to put it in the same year and really put that big hitter out there at the same time? Because like, this game wouldn't come out anytime soon for me personally. Like it would look like a fall window, but then why would you put it in the same window as Banishers at that point? You know, we're still not equating for what other games come out later this year.
There's no way this is coming out this year.
Because like. And I'm stressing this importance. Like, for example, like Take-Two Interactive, publisher behind Grand Theft Auto, BioShock, and stuff. They will do their earnings soon, like for their reporting. And if, for example, if they say in that earnings report, saying on the call, they say, oh yeah, GTA 6 might be coming out later this year. Like all these publishers are going to move their game. No one is even going to go next to it. The only people I could see doing it would be like Sega with Sonic Frontiers. They're the only people who'd release a game near Grand Theft Auto. So you have to kind of be careful because the fall game windows haven't all been completed yet, or we don't know what dates are. But I don't think this game will come out in the fall. But we'll get we'll get an official announcement this year. I don't know when. It could be E3. I think E3 is going to be likely now on the cards, having them shared this.
Yeah.
Either that or potentially Gamescom. I think because they could go back to Germany. Because like, obviously they're based in Canada, but I have a funny feeling that they might go there. Life is Strange has been at Gamescom before. I know Luc and Michel have kind of promoted the game there. I think Luc might have been there. But it's going to have to be a major convention, and I don't think it's going to be or the push one is it's announced at the Game Awards later this year in December. It'll be officially announced, and it's got a release window in 2024 for the game to come out. Because like the next expectation is going to be an announcement and a trailer. They're not going to keep sharing. I don't think they're going to keep sharing loads and loads of images. Obviously, if they do, Don't Nod, thank you. It'll give us a lot of ammunition for podcasts. Like we could talk for ages on this.
But I'm excited to know more about this game. But I'm very positive this is in the early 90s. Those VHS tapes mean something, and it's set in Philadelphia. It's going to set in the East Coast somewhere. It may not be East Coast. It could be Ohio. Like what if Dreamwalker's right and one of those tapes say Ohio? It could be set in Columbus. Columbus, Ohio was like big in the 90s. Cincinnati even. Like you could even do it in Cincinnati, but I'm going to say Columbus. But it could be that. It definitely could be because they are in drivable distance to the East Coast and they're in Pennsylvania. But like Ohio is right next to Pennsylvania too, so he could have taken a trip over there. Who knows? That's my thoughts.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the episode. We've decided to take Spread the Arts out of this segment because we've done like a lot of stuff here, so I feel like there's going to be long enough as it is, and it will come back in the next week as well. Just a quick one as well for Spread the Arts. I will say definitely watch Pressure Cooker because Adam recommended it last week to me. I really enjoyed it so far. I'm one episode away from the finale, so definitely recommend you check it out. So. As it is, I think we'll end it here. A lot to be talked about. Dreamwalker, leave your comment in the take all the stuff that you sent me in the Twitter message and put it in the comment section so people can actually like read through it. But as I said, thank you for joining us. If you really did enjoy this content as well, please, as I said, do consider dropping us a subscribe, turn on notifications, turn on the bell as well so you know when we have the content coming out. And also share with your friends as well. I will try and get more output for this channel. That's my hope in 2023 to get more content, more people to come here and enjoy it as much as you do. Know people like it. Shout out to people on Life is Strange Reddit who share us as well. I saw someone else recently say that we have content that people come and see as well, and we had a subscriber come from there. Very much appreciated. Very grateful as always. And also, as well, as a reminder, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify, everything, so definitely check out. Life After Strange is still in the works. As I said, apologies, it's just taking a long time. I think now it's kind of going to slow down really, but I will try and get it back at some point. Patience is the main thing if I ask for, but as well as at the same time you will still get these episodes if anything. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you think about this image. Any theories and anything interesting, please do, because I imagine that at some point me and Adam will probably do a theories round 2 episode on this as well, because it seems to be something that's just building up in expectations. So definitely let us know in the comments what you think about the image. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this episode. As I said, comes out earlier. We'll be coming back in 2 weeks' time after this one. So in the meantime, as well, as I said, enjoy, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, guys.
See you.